If you're dealing with heartbreak over a man, I definitely want you to watch this. I guess you're watching this if you are watching this. So let's dive into this conversation. If you're feeling or have ever felt heartbroken over the ending of a relationship, then chances are you cared for them deeply. Let's face it, heartbreak is a reflection of when we care for someone deeply, there's a detachment from that person, and it's time, or it's an invitation to do individual healing work. You see, when a treasured relationship ends, it can be very challenging navigating the ending of a relationship, much like a death. And we're going to explore this in a moment. And in a moment, I'm going to give you 6 questions to ask yourself, a self-reflective exercise. I want you to write down these 6 questions I'm going to give you as a way to heal from the ending of a treasured relationship. You know, when a relationship ends, you can start feeling self-doubt. You could start questioning whether or not you're lovable. You could start questioning whether or not you're likable. You could start questioning whether or not you're worthy of a relationship. And sadly, I've noticed women in particular oftentimes give their power away to a man when a relationship ends. And let me explain what I mean by that. See, oftentimes in the ending of the relationship is always about what they did wrong. It's always about what they didn't give. It's oftentimes, what can I do to change this person's mind? Whenever you start making it about the other person, you are giving your power away to them. So one of the most important things to do is to go inward, to be self-reflective, to actually do work to heal oneself, just like a death. I'm going to share my own personal experience in a moment, because today marks the anniversary of 1 year ago. My treasured relationship physically ended, although the relationship ended a few months earlier than that. She physically left the home, and I thought this might be a cathartic experience for myself. So I'll be sharing a lot of my own personal feelings, emotion, experiences, and maybe share in a way that helps you heal if you felt heartbroken or a man, or you're still feeling heartbroken. So it's interesting, because when my relationship ended, I immediately went to accept. Okay, so we're going to talk about the levels of grief. I interrupted myself, but we're going to talk about the stages of grief. And some believe that there's 5 stages. I'm going to talk about the 7 stages of grief, which includes shock, denial, anger, bargaining, depression, testing, and acceptance. And what I did when my relationship ended is I immediately went to acceptance. I thought, I'm going to be the bigger person. I'm going to show everybody out in the YouTube universe that I'm above it all. I'm going to show how I accepted the ending of the relationship. What I didn't realize what I was doing was gaslighting myself. I was spiritually bypassing the levels of grief, the layers of grief, because quite frankly, I was in shock. I didn't realize it, but shock is that there, like, even though I think internally I was in shock, I wasn't in shock cognitively, like I was able to function out in the world, not like shock when there's a tiger in front of you and you can't move, but that shock of really disbelief that it happened. And so I didn't recognize, I suspect I was in that state of shock, but I recognize that I don't think I cognitively knew I was in shock. So first, I invite everyone to look inward. If you experience heartbreak, or you're experiencing heartbreak right now, have you experienced any level of shock? And by the way, it is a true shock to our system. When someone you care for ends the relationship, let's be clear, we can naturally go into shock. Our nervous system may not be prepared to regulate such an experience. So let's just all, well, I invite you to look inward and ask yourself, did you experience any shock? Now, in my case, denial is, by the way, these emotions that we experience in grief aren't necessarily, um, you know, follow a pattern. But, did I go into denial? I think denied, I denied my feelings. I denied my feelings. And the feeling I denied most was anger. Not angry at the other person. And we're going to talk about that in those 6 questions I invite you to ask yourself. Oftentimes, when an ending of a relationship, we go anger towards the other person. Now, that's not to suggest you might not be angry over the ending of a relationship. That's a natural experience to feel anger over a treasured relationship ending. Where we get stuck oftentimes is we blame the other person. We're angry at the other person. And I'm here to say, if the relationship is not right for one, it's not right for both. Whatever their reason for ending it, they have a valid reason for themselves, whether they've shared it with you or not. Whatever their reason is, they are entitled to their reason for ending a relationship. Again, if it's not right for one, it's not right for both. So that anger, I'm inviting everyone to explore anger from the perspective of we don't have to be angry at the person, but we can be angry for the collateral damage of their choice. Let me repeat that. We can be angry over the collateral damage of their choice. Now, some people go into bargaining. They try to convince the other person that they're wrong. Again, if it's not right for one, it's not right for both. I don't believe we should ever have to convince someone to want to be in relationship with us. I didn't do that. I'm inviting you all not to do that. Now, depression is a natural state that we might experience after the ending of a relationship. I've been depressed before. I know what it's like. I went to bed wishing I didn't wake up. That's when I had an identity crisis almost 20 years ago that caused me to want to do personal development, self-help, and spiritual work. Why I'm sharing this with you, it is a natural feeling to experience deep, deep sadness. And not that I'm trying to put a timetable on this sadness, because as many of you know, I lost a child. And we're talking about grief. We think of death is the ultimate loss, but I think when a treasured relationship, it can feel like a death. And so for anyone that's experiencing depression, and I said, I've been there, I lost a child. But I also know that we don't have to live in that state of energy. We can choose to do things to nurture our soul in a loving way. The reason why I wrote my book, which was birthed after my son passed away, it's a journey of personal development, self-help, and spiritual work. There's a link below to get a copy of my book, is because we can use love as the antidote to suffering. And that stage of acceptance when a relationship ends. I'm a believer, if it's not right for one, it's not right for both. Accept that. When we're bargaining, when we're testing, when we're angry, when we're depressed, we're all, in many cases, it's because we're giving the power to the other person. And I'm going to invite you to ask these 6 questions of yourself as a way to heal and to move on. So the first question, and by the way, everything I'm sharing, I did. And I thought it'd be appropriate to share what I did as a way to help others. And the first thing I did is I asked myself, what positive things about myself did I learn in this relationship or this experience? What positive things about myself did I learn? Can someone write this in the chat box or write it in the comment section? What positive things about myself did I learn? So, it's interesting as I reflect upon my relationship, I am really proud that I stepped into love in a way that I never had before. I'm so proud of that. I am so proud that I went all in. I can't begin to express, for somebody who went through a divorce, that was really self-centric when I got married and I was selfish. I went into this. One of the positive things I learned about myself is I went all in to be of service to another person. I also, when I operated as a teammate with another human being. I didn't operate from a selfish place as I had in my past. So I am so grateful for the positive things that came out of it, the positive things about myself. We had a very conscious uncoupling. There was no anger, there was no animosity. I'm very proud of the grown-up way we handled this. And so and those are just some of the positive things I learned about myself. And I'm only sharing this with you is I want you to invite these questions. What positive things about myself did I learn in this relationship or this experience? Number 2, how have I healed? How have I healed? Many of us have a deep core wound is I'm not good enough. I'm not lovable. I'm not likable. And the ending of a treasure relationship can trigger that like nobody's business. And do you know where those wounds come from? My mother and father, mostly, was my mother, and particularly my mother. Although I now recognize I got a lot of father shit in my life that I'm still working on. I invite everybody to read the book, The Hoffman Process, The Hoffman Process. This is a deep dive into healing our childhood wounds and adult traumas. And what I recognize that I still have a pattern that relates to my childhood in the choice I made in this relationship. And now I am so crystal clear. So let me give you an example. This isn't related to me. Some of you women have daddy issues, and you often choose a man that's much like your father, maybe an emotionally unavailable man, maybe an emotionally constipated man, maybe a man that abandoned you, and you choose men like that. As I said before, I have a tendency to choose someone like my mother, and I recognize now the pattern that I chose, and I believe now from this experience, I've healed it. Now, we won't know until the next dynamic happens. But I do believe I have a greater sense of awareness of what to look for, why I chose certain people in my life, because it was familiar to me. You may want to read the book. I can't begin to stress the importance of reading this book, Getting the Love You Want by Harville Hendricks and Helen Hunt. I highly recommend reading this so you can learn about the patterns of how you might be choosing people that are similar to one or both of your parents. And do this introspective work and ask yourself, how have I healed? Number 3, what was good about the relationship? Start really examining the good things about the relationship. We oftentimes hyper focus on what's wrong. Start focusing on what was good about the relationship. And to piggyback, number 4 is, what are you most grateful for about the relationship? So, for example, what was good about our relationship? We were good teammates in the way we lived our lives. We traveled fairly well together. We got to see exotic different places. I am so grateful for all the good things that came out of the relationship. But more importantly, I'm so grateful for those good things. But I want you to examine what was good about the relationship. And then if you can step into gratitude. I've witnessed so many women that are bitter and jaded over their past relationships. So bitter and jaded. And guess what? That's going to carry forward in your desires to want to connect with another human being. When we can shift all of that energy and examine what was good and what you're most grateful for. Now, I know many of you have experienced very toxic relationships, and I'm not here to absolve anyone for their behavior of being mistreated, of being being discounted, being marginalized, being gaslit. I am not here to diminish that whatsoever. I'm here to encourage you to step into your power and recognize that every relationship happens. I believe every relationship we choose has a value in it, a benefit from it. They happen for a reason. And I do believe we are oftentimes choose the wrong person as a way to look in the mirror and love ourselves. I know many of you disagree with me or might disagree with me, but I truly believe that is the case. What's the fifth thing you want to ask yourself? Do I need to forgive myself or do I need to forgive the other person? Do I need to forgive myself or them? Forgiveness. If you're not, I went to a seminar recently that talked about forgiveness and said, forgiving love, forgiving love. Forgive yourself for any choice that you feel wasn't aligned to who you are or what you want. But more important, when I believe Brene Brown said it best, when we forgive others, we're actually really, it's for our own benefit. Now, again, that doesn't absolve anyone of bad behavior if you choose to forgive another person. I look at forgiveness as really just the reflection that maybe they wanted a significant relationship. Their desire was there, but their capacity wasn't at the same level. So I forgive their inability to, I forgive that their pains and hurts exceeded their capacity to lean into a healthy, happy relationship. But most importantly, and I do the Hawaiian forgiveness prayer. Can someone write this down? Hawaiian forgiveness prayer. And it's also known as the Ho'oponopono. And it goes like this. This is the way I learned the Hawaiian forgiveness prayer. And I repeat this to myself every day, many times a day. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. You know what? I think of the forgiveness prayer as giving yourself a shot of self-love, giving yourself an injection of love, forgiving love. And when you can forgive yourself, and if it's possible, forgiving another person for any belief that they did you wrong, it frees you, it opens you up to possibilities in the future. And the sixth and final question, can you energetically thank them? Can you energetically thank them? What I did, what I do, I actually do this frequently. I actually send love to my previous partners. I give it to my ex-wife. I give it to my two significant actually, I give it to anybody I had a interaction with. I thank them for being part of my journey. I thank them for caring about me. I thank them for anything that they did to help me not just grow emotionally as a person, but everything. I thank them for it all. I send them energetic thanks. I believe gratitude is one of the highest forms of love. And I think when we can give love as abundantly as we possibly can, the universe is going to say, I'm going to send it back to you in tenfold. And that's my perception anyway. Is this sinking in? Is this resonating with you? Please let me know. Just remember those those 6 questions are: what positive things about myself did I learn? How have I healed? What was good? What am I most grateful for? Do I need to forgive myself or them? And lastly, can I energetically thank them? Is this sinking in? Is this resonating with you? Please let me know. Post a comment below. I'd like to hear your thoughts on everything I shared. As always, if you find value in my videos, please hit that like button. Please share this video. Please subscribe to my channel and hit that notification bell so you can be notified of new videos. And make sure you hit the notification bell on your phone as well. And if you want to connect with me directly, there's links below to schedule a discovery call with me. See if working with an empowerment coach is right for you. I am here to empower you to attract the most amazing life partner in your life. Also, if coaching isn't right for you, there's links below to join my group called Midlife Love Mastery, to get all the books I recommend, to follow me on Instagram, get my dating vows, all listed below. All right, those who know my live format know it's time for Q&A. If you have a question, there's a little chat box in the corner. Write the word question, then post the question thereafter. Or you can purchase a super sticker, super chat. All the monies from the super sticker, super chat goes to a scholarship fund in the name of my son, Connor Asley. That's a picture of him right there with his brother, Colin. He's my son who passed away over 6 years ago. In his honor, we donate to causes like the Hoffman Process, Insight Institute, and scholarships to coaching as well. And our goal tonight is $50. So I'd appreciate the love. And if you want to join the hot seat and talk to me about anything, and I promise to be a good boy and treat you with a lot of love, I just posted the link in the chat box, okay? All right, let's see. Let's keep going. Let's see what we have. I saw a question here. Jess posted a question. What if you had two different men as a father figure? Biological dad abandoned me. My grandpa raised me as a father figure. I was present to a good man. Okay. In the Hoffman process, it invites you to look at all of those people who parented you, whether they were surrogate parents or they were your biological parents. Look at every person who is active in the raising of you, at least for the first 12 years of your life, but certainly I would go a little bit beyond 12 years. I would certainly look, by the way, you could have had one parent that was wonderful and another parent that was horrific. You could have had a biological father that passed away and a stepfather raised you. Yes, I would invite you to look at all of the people who were active participants in raising you. Absolutely. Okay. All right, let's see what else we have. RM Bell's in the house. Can I text the Hawaiian prayer to a man I've been wanting to contact but don't know how don't know the right words? Well, I guess what's your motivation? What's your motivation? Like why? I want you to think of it from his point of view. He might get this and go, why am I getting this? So I would look at your motivation for doing it and then look at it from, he's going to go, why am I getting this? So I would have a clear explanation as to why you think it would benefit him, and make sure that he would be receptive to it. So don't just do something because you feel it's right for you. Do because you actually feel like it would be something he would say, wow, thank you so much for sending me that. You know, every once in a while I'll get a meme from somebody. I'm like, why did you send that to me? It's not relevant. Well, they felt it was relevant to them. Make sure it's, don't focus on why you want it. Focus why it would benefit them. That would be the way I look at it. Jess wants to write, oh, great. Thank you. You're very welcome. I'm glad that helped. Heather says, I think a lot of women are raised with fairy tale ideas of dating, which might be why we are more bitter for longer than men when things end. Yes, I would agree that the Disney narrative has been a significant reason why because we have this expectation, and when that expectation isn't met, it's like the little kid who didn't get the Christmas present they want. Oftentimes they go into a tirade, they go into a tantrum, and guess what's happening is the little kid inside of us is having a tantrum because we didn't get what we want. And oftentimes it carries on. Most children's tantrums only last 24 hours at the most. As an adult, it can last a lifetime if you haven't properly nurtured it, like your parents hopefully did when you didn't get the present you wanted. Okay. All right. Um, you know, many of you have criticized me, judged me for my relationship and or have given me or used it against me in conversation. I just want to be very transparent about how I felt from some people here in the YouTube universe. Folks, I share from my personal experiences because I, particularly after going through this ending of a treasured relationship, I can tell you that I believe that this didn't happen by accident. I was meant to experience this so I could actually understand what so many of my clients go through, and I can actually be more of an empathetic coach. And I've spent the past 12 months, today is the anniversary of the last day or the day she left this home. And I'm grateful that I didn't do what a lot of people did. They immediately go on the dating apps and try to replace the person. I waited about 6 months before I actually dated, and I went out on a few dates, but it still didn't feel right. And I felt like, I really, and I've been very patient. I've been very selective. I haven't really engaged in wanting to get to know another human being because nobody of interest has popped into my vortex. Okay. A lot of coaches will tell you, go out on one date a week and you'll meet your guy in 1 year kind of thing. I'm not a believer of that. I don't believe in that. I think now that I look at what's out, let me just tell you something. It's a fucking shit show dating today. I can't believe how much it's changed in the 2 years since or now 3 years since my when I entered into a relationship. I believe that we are in a radically dysfunctional way of connecting with people. And I believe, like right now, I'm on a journey to want to help everybody find a better way of doing things, find a better way of connecting and with your life partner. Now, a lot of people will give you their advice, but to me, their advice is the broken clock advice, meaning a broken clock is right twice a day. But 22 hours a day, the clock isn't working properly. Well, that's the way I think most advice is. Yes, it applies to that 2 out of 24, but it doesn't apply to the other 22 out of 24. And I want to give advice that applies to everybody. And I think that advice, most importantly, always comes back to this important topic: self-love. See, it's not about whether or not we find a life mate. It's about, can we find the life mate within ourselves? That's my invitation for everybody. And that's the journey I've had to learn these past 12 months, is that most important. It's like self-love is putting the oxygen mask on yourself first. And by being introspective, by seeking therapy, by getting counseling, it all prepares us for the most important relationship in our life. And that's our relationship with ourselves. And that's my invitation for everyone. Heather wants to share with us, our age group is so different from dating to make a family. When you're young, our standards are much lower, in my opinion, because of the clock. But now we're truly finding ourselves. Thank you for sharing your journey. You're very welcome. Joe Daisy says, romantic relationships can bring out such raw emotions we didn't even realize we had. It's an opportunity to reflect and delve deeply inside our soul to get to know who we are and what we need to heal. Amen, 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 amen. Marianne says, what was your mindset after doing the Hoffman process? I had the book for some time now and I haven't opened it. I read the 4 agreements and your book just needs some reassurance or assurance. What was going through my mind was, I it's kind of like the definition of insanity, doing the same thing over and over again, expecting different results. And I recognized that my life was kind of a hamster wheel at that time. And so when I did the Hoffman process, it was rolling the dice. It was a gamble. I really didn't know what to expect. I went in with an open heart without any expectations, and I walked away from the Hoffman process feeling such abundance of love. Oh my God, I was immersed in a glow of love, self-love, love from others, and I began becoming more compassionate, kinder, gentler. Folks, I think I've shared with you before, I was a jackass 20 plus years ago. I was a self-centric person. By the way, I've been a jackass and self-centric even on my YouTube channel in the last 4 years. But I like to think every day I'm getting better. Every day I peel a layer of myself and I feel as though I keep getting better and better. And believe me, I revert backwards sometimes, but hopefully I make steps forward. So that was the motivation for doing it. And my motivation was, I just want to keep loving myself more every day. Brown Canetta says, thank you, Jonathan. Don't listen to others and how they judge you. I'm glad you see past that and share who you are and what you feel. It's extremely toxic everywhere. Thank you for wanting to help us. You're very welcome. Thank you so much. Suzanne says, so many out there only go as far as the surface. They don't go deep. This is because they don't get help. They should. And that relationship just doesn't work. So I was sharing with a client today. I was actually very proud of myself. I had a lot of people go and do work on themselves, and they think it's like this. They go in their backyard, they dig a little hole, they plant a seed, a tree, we'll call it an apple tree seed, and they cover up the hole and they water it, and they go, okay, it needs a little bit of sun. So they they go to bed, they sunlight, is touching the earth. And they wake up next morning, going out to the backyard and go, where's my apple tree? That's the way most people operate when they do work. But work is like this. We are all an onion. We have layers. And when we peel a layer, it's very thin. It can be very minute, this layer. And then we pull another layer and we pull another layer. The trick is looking at the layers as if they're trees. Peel a layer, that's a tree. Peel another layer, that's a tree. Peel another layer of yourself. Healing, compassion, love, gratitude, positive things you learned about yourself, what was good, all of these layers you peel, and they all represent a tree. They're very minute, but guess what? When you peel enough layers, you have a forest. And that's what inner work is peeling those layers so we can find what's at the core. And what is at the core of you and me and everyone else is love. And that's my invitation for everyone. Jerry says, J.A., you own everything in that. What I like about your channel, I hope you find the one. Whether I meet a life partner in this lifetime or not, I'm good with it. I believe we reincarnate. I actually believe we relive this life over and over and over again, like Groundhog Day. That's one perception I have. I also believe that we reincarnate as men and women in different circumstances, throughout millennia, going backward and forward in time. This is my perception of what happens when we pass away. So if it happens in this lifetime, great. But I do know this, I'm preparing myself. By doing this work, I prepare myself for a life partner. And my hope is I meet someone who's at least at that same space that I'm at, and we can grow more together. That's my hope. Cindy says, work on oneself is ongoing. Anyone who thinks otherwise is deceiving themselves. I think our inner work continues until we make their transition. Amen, amen, amen. Victoria says, it feels like Groundhog Day most of the time. Yeah. By the way, in the movie Groundhog Day with Bill Murray and, oh God, what is her name? Andie MacDowell. I watched it just about 2 weeks ago. I watched it again. There is some believe that he lived the same day for 30 years, same day for 30 years. Some people believe that he lived the same day for 3,000 years. 3,000 years he relived the same day. I actually like to think it's 3,000 years in the context of that our souls relive, like we have this experience of life 3,000 times. And we're just improving a little bit each day, just like peeling that onion. It's just a perception I have. You can decide if you agree with that or not. McCoy Oak Hills Farm says, yes, we do reincarnate. At least I know I have. Marianne says, the best is yet to come. As my father would say, Inshallah. Suzanne says, when I have went out on a date, I put out there right away that I'm wanting, that is what I'm wanting is someone emotionally mature, deep, raw, open, honest, watch the wrong people. They aren't not a sticker. By the way, you said a lot of words, emotionally mature, deep, raw, and honest. The only way to determine that they are those things is if you actually see it in action. If you've actually seen it in action. Jesse says, deja vu. Joe Daisy says, Jonathan, yes, you've grown and we have because of you. Oh, thank you so much. I appreciate the love. Hey, listen, I'm going to cut out short this evening. Normally I go for an hour, but I'm going to cut out short. Folks, first off, I want to thank everyone who's been kind, loving, caring towards me through these past few years. I do recognize that I can be arrogant. I can be a little bit righteous. I can be a little bit, snarky sometimes. But I want you to know, deep in my heart, I wake up every morning. First off, I wake up every morning with a happy, positive attitude that today something magical can happen in my life. That's number one. But more importantly, I spend and consume so much information because I want to be of service to you. I want to be a catalyst for your growth, whether it's in romantic love or just self-love. I want to be a catalyst for that. So I always watch things and I come up with topics so I can encourage it. And sometimes I repeat myself over and over and over and over again, because guess what? The way we learn something, just like Groundhog Day, is doing the same thing over and over again, but actually improving with each opportunity. And that's my invitation for everyone, because practice makes perfect. Is this sinking in? Is this resonating with you? Please let me know if it is. Post a comment below. I'd like to hear your thoughts. As always, if you find value in my videos, please hit that like button. Please share this video. Please subscribe to my channel. Hit that notification bell so you can be notified of new videos. And also go to your phone and hit that notification bell as well. Also, if you want to connect with me directly, there's links below to schedule a discovery call with me to see if working with a coach is right for you. I promise you, if you schedule that call, I will promise you I will make a difference in your life. That I promise you. Schedule the links below. Right here, there's a link, jonathanasley.com/coaching. Hey, if you can't afford coaching, join the group called Midlife Love Mastery. This is a group where you can have direct access to me on a regular basis. There's links to get the books I recommend, to follow me on Instagram, to get my dating vows, all listed below. All right, I'm going to wrap up this video as I always do. First off, give myself a big, gigantic Jonathan Barrag of self-love. I'm going to reach into the camera and give you a hug of love. Hey, by the way, donate to the Connor Asley Scholarship Fund. If 10 of you donated $3 right now, we'll get to our goal. Also, give a hug to a friend, a pet, a teddy bear, a pillow, because hugs are a great source of love. And let's face it, we could all use more love in our lives. I want to thank Aurora, and Joe Daisy and Neville and Heather and McCoy and Brown Canetta and Suzanne and Power of Chi and Jess and Marianne and Cindy and Victoria and Jerry, Ariel and RM Bell and those who donated tonight. Thanks for the love. Wishing you all a super duper wonderful, fantastic evening. Be well. Thanks. Bye.